Alright guys, today we got the revisit of the Galaxy S21 with the One UI 7 update. So I've been, as promised, I'm going to go through all of them, but you can see we got the One UI update here for the S21. This is the phone that I've actually been the most surprised with because it is just a breath of fresh air. It's super smooth. So I've been really impressed with that. This is in Xfinity S21, so it's a locked version. So it took a minute to get the update, but really glad that, it's finally here. This is the last major update for the S21. A lot of people still holding on to their S21, so I just want to go over the phone. And one of the things about, picking this phone up, you guys can see it, my S21 is really beat up. But you guys can see, this is the flagship where Samsung actually went with a plastic back, which is pretty interesting because it was just a random thing for them to do, and then they quickly went back to that glass back with the S22. But I've always thought that was interesting. But the plastic back, it's not terrible, but it does make the phone feel not as premium to me with that plastic feel. But the sides are metal, so it doesn't feel cheap. But I've always thought that was interesting why they just randomly did that. But they just couldn't do that because you got people like Xiaomi and other smartphone manufacturers, with the glass back, and you just got to be super competitive. So I just thought that was, an interesting thing that they did. But yeah, hardware wise, I think this phone looks great aside from the fact that, mine is really beat up. But it's a light phone, very comfortable to hold. The camera cutout is pretty cool as well. And design has, stood the test of time here. So it doesn't look like a bad phone for, a 2021 flagship. So as far as the software goes with this One UI 7 update, as you guys can see, it's got the vertical scrolling. We also got the new widgets on here as well. Let me go back. We got the new widgets, so we can mess with that. And we also do have our new Gemini, which is much better than the Bixby that was on here. It's something I've really been enjoying. We've also got this drop down menu here, or your control center, and yeah, it's something that I really like. The new design here, you can customize it, so this is something a lot of people like, and everything has been really smooth. I've been more impressed with how smooth the animations are on the S21. There's nothing laggy about the animations on here. It has been a very smooth experience with this phone. So that is probably my #1 thing with this phone, is that it doesn't feel like it got slower at all. If anything, it feels a lot newer, fresher, smoother as well. So that is a really cool thing here as well. The now bar also makes its way to the S21. So you can see you have that now bar. You can flick through if you have some music playing here, Google Maps or something like that. You can flick through it. It also will show on the lock screen, and there's also new lock screen customization. So this One UI 7 update actually has quite a bit. If you go to the last update, and you can actually come in here and see what's new here. And yeah, there's a lot of new stuff, but that's mainly a lot of the main stuff with this update. And the biggest thing is going to be the camera, the new camera controls, or not new camera controls, but just the new layout. It makes everything much easier for one-handed use. So if you have smaller hands, you don't have to kind of mess with up here and all that. It's just an awesome thing. I really like it. And yeah, so one thing that I really liked about this phone coming back to it was the actual display. The display on the S21 is really nice. It has a very nice and vibrant panel on here. So that's the thing that I really liked about this phone. It's a 6.2-inch display. It's dynamic AMOLED. It's 120 Hz HDR10+. It is 1300 nits peak brightness, 1080p. And then also it's 421 for the PPI, completely flat display. And the bezels on here aren't bad at all. It's pretty thin. So I don't have an issue with that. I think the display is, my favorite thing. Is just very colorful. And that's the best thing about these older Samsung panels, is that you get that really vivid colors that just pop. Some people don't like it, say it's not color accurate and stuff like that, which I get. But I always like these older displays simply for that. Yeah, this display looks awesome, guys. I absolutely love the panel on here. So you have the Snapdragon AAA processor on here. This is probably the weaker side of the S21 here, especially when we start talking about that Exynos one as well too. I hear a lot of bad things about that from my viewers overseas that have the that Exynos model. And this phone, it can still play PUBG, at 90 frames. It's still, it's a decent processor, but the thing about this is that it can really heat up. It can get super warm during like just normal stuff basically, and then longer periods of gaming you could really like feel it heating up. Is this processor and the 8 Gen 1 are kind of like, they just get really hot. Now if you're more on the casual side, you probably never experience this. If you're somebody that's not gaming, you're not really doing intensive stuff on your phone, you really won't notice it. The phone will run perfectly fine. But yeah, if you're doing more intensive stuff, these CPUs tend to just make the phone really hot. But yeah, as far as performance goes, I think the S21 still has very good performance. It's got 128 gigs of internal storage. This version is 8 gigs of RAM. And yeah, I have no issue with performance. I'm not like a super heavy user, but you can come in here and play PUBG, Call of Duty, play a few matches, and I've never had any problems with slowdowns with the FPS or anything like that. But I'm sure you could run into some problems for sure if you are somebody who's actually into gaming. But like I said, anybody who's actually into gaming, you really need to look at an S23 series if you're in the used refurbished marketplace, because those phones do a fantastic job. 120 hertz, no battery, draining issues, and also it's not going to get super hot. But as you guys can see, this does a perfectly fine job. You don't need to worry about performance on the S21 if you're not like super heavy user. Got these speakers at max volume. I mean, even if you cover this bottom speaker, the top speaker is doing a pretty good job. I think overall the sound quality is really not that bad. The bass isn't crazy, but it's not bad. You can feel it a little bit. But yeah, the speakers on here are perfectly fine. The ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is also really good as well, so no issues with that. And as far as this update goes, I mean, everything is working really well, really smooth on this phone. So again, I know I keep saying that, but I was just really surprised by that. Also for the AI people, so this phone didn't get any of the AI features just like the S21. It has the circle to search, but everything else is they didn't add any AI features here, unfortunately. And then we can also talk about the camera. So besides the new camera layout, the S21 pictures are okay. It definitely it shows its age in low light for sure. The pictures just look soft, kind of grainy at night, stuff like that. If you're in good lighting, as you can see, you can get a very good shot with the S21. Sometimes the colors can be a little bit unrealistic. It can be a little bit too like vivid, colorful. But overall, the camera setup is not bad. It's a 12 megapixel standard, 64 megapixel telephoto. It also has the 1.1 optical zoom with 3x hybrid zoom. You can go all the way up to 30 times zoom. It can shoot a 12 megapixel ultra wide and then 8K 24 video with a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. As you guys can see, the images are not bad, but it definitely it's showing its age a little bit for sure. So the battery situation on the S21, I've never had a horrible experience with this phone's battery life, but I know a lot of people have. I think that it could be the Exynos model. I did notice that the standby on the S21 has gotten a little bit better, but besides that, battery life is just kind of okay. If you're a lighter user, it's nothing really too crazy. It's got a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, 25 watt charging. Then you also have wireless and reverse wireless charging. And it's okay. So this phone, I wouldn't recommend you pick it up, right? Because you can get much better phones for just a little bit more money, right? Even if you're looking at an S21 phone and the budget was really tight, I would look at an S21 FE, because at least you get that Android 16 update as well too, that One UI 8 that's coming. But this is a fine phone. Like, if I had to use this phone for like a day, I could definitely do it. Like, it's fast. I like the screen. I'm not a big fan of this plastic on the back. The cameras are, not the greatest now. They don't do that great in low light, but overall, it's a fine phone. Like, it gets the job done. You can game on here a little bit. Guys, that's pretty much it. Be sure to let me know what you guys think.